What's up guys, it's Will back again, and today's review is Warcraft. As you can see, this review is actually being released before the movie hits theaters to the general public on June 10th because I finally gained access to an advanced screening. I entered some competition where the winner got tickets to a Warcraft screening, and I actually didn't even think I finished entering because it just asked me too much info and I said screw it, this is too much trouble. But I actually ended up winning somehow. My friend Jared and I got to go see the movie in IMAX 3D. Look at these glasses though. These are like by far the worst 3D glasses I've ever been given for a 3D movie. They're all crooked and weird. But anyway, let's get into my review of Warcraft. So Warcraft is a fantasy film directed by Duncan Jones that's based off the Warcraft video game series. The film's setting is in the world of Azeroth, which is also where the games take place as well. So in this movie, the orcs are in search of a new home because their world, Draenor, has been destroyed due to the use of a deadly magic called the Fel that has terrible effects on life and corrupts those who use it. The orcs, led by the villainous Gul'dan, eventually create a portal that leads them straight into Azeroth, where they declare war on the humans as they attempt to conquer their world and make it their new home. The humans, on the other hand, attempt to quell this orc invasion and focus their efforts on prohibiting the orcs from reopening the portal to allow the rest of the horde to come flooding into their world. And obviously the result you get from these two races clashing is epic warfare, which is really amazing to watch on screen. And I actually really enjoyed this movie for the most part. Slight disclaimer, I was a World of Warcraft player for a decent amount of time, probably like 5 or 6 years ago now, so I came into this hoping that it really would be good because obviously I really enjoyed the game. If you were curious, which I'm sure you probably will, I was a level 70 Frost Mage, which was actually pretty good at the time, now not so much. I was actually thinking about why this film has gotten such terrible reviews from a lot of critics so far, and I think I know why. In my personal opinion, it's because this film takes fantasy to a whole nother level. If you're really not into this fantasy stuff, then this movie is really just not for you. There's mages, warlocks, elves, dwarves, orcs, obviously magic, and just a lot of things that are really fantasy driven. I'm sure some critics were probably thinking to themselves like, god damn, this movie is for nerds. And while movies like Lord of the Rings got great reviews and they're obviously fantasy driven, it's different because Warcraft feels like you're watching cutscenes from a video game for 100 minutes. I don't think you necessarily have to have played the games, by the way, to enjoy this movie because its plot is pretty straightforward with not a ton of twists and turns that are going to be too difficult for you to understand. It definitely helps coming into it with a little understanding of the universe's language and such, but Blizzard actually does a pretty good job simplifying it so that newcomers won't be limited by not having any experience with the Warcraft universe. One thing I want to talk about real quick though is the acting. I think the acting was pretty poor in this film besides Travis Fimmel. So Travis Fimmel, who you may know from his work as Ragnar Lothbrok from the show Vikings, plays Sir Anduin Lothar in this film. And when I say poorly acted, I'm only referring to the characters that actually appear in physical form on screen and not the orcs being voice acted. Because the voice acting in this movie really was outstanding and these actors really brought a lot of personality and life to their characters. But as for the on-screen actors, Travis Fimmel was our lead protagonist and I thought he was far and away the best on-screen acted character in this movie. I thought he was acted the best, I thought he was the most compelling, and he was obviously the most entertaining to me as well. In this violent Warcraft universe, Lothar is really most concerned with protecting his people and his kingdom, and he does so in the most badass way possible. Every fight scene he's in is absolutely amazing to watch, and I hope Travis Fimmel starts landing more roles because he's definitely a rising star in my opinion. So we really only have like 4 more on-screen actors that play key characters in this film, and that's Ben Foster as Medivh the Guardian, Paula Patton as Gorona, Dominic Cooper as King Wrynn of Stormwind, and Ben Schnetzer as Khadgar the Mage. Each of these 4 actors do just okay in their respective roles, but just okay is probably as far as I could go here. Sometimes their acting felt a little stale, and it takes the immersive experience out of the film for you because they just don't reach the level that you hoped they would. I felt like the acting from the characters that physically appeared on screen, excluding Fimmel obviously, was the worst part of this movie. But I'm here to tell you don't worry because oddly enough, this poor acting probably won't ruin the overall experience for you. It didn't for me at least because the film does a lot of other things at a very high level. Well, first off, like I said before, the voice acting performances given from the orcs are done at an extremely high level. Daniel Wu as the villainous Gul'dan does a great job getting you to fear and respect him as a villain, and Toby Cabell as Durotan is an extremely likable orc because he really just does whatever is best for his clan and leaves any sort of personal agenda completely out of his decision making. Durotan stands up for what's right, and as a viewer I really admire that and came to really like his character. The CGI in this film was really fantastic, especially when you consider that like 95% of the movie is CGI. I couldn't really help but be impressed. There are a lot of beautiful cities and landscapes to marvel at, and if you've played Warcraft or World of Warcraft, you're gonna get really excited when you see cities like Stormwind and Ironforge on screen. Like I said though, if you haven't played the games, you won't really think twice about this, but as a former player, these cities really look beautiful and they really make you kind of want to play the game again. Oh, and by the way, you also get to see some awesome flying and riding mounts, mostly just eagles and wolves, but they also look great. The details on the orcs' faces and their mannerisms are also really impressive as well. These CGI characters show complex emotions really well, and this pulls you in as a viewer because you're never like, that looked like bad CGI. I never really felt disappointed with how things looked on screen at all. There's probably like 2 to 3 big battle scenes, with obviously the biggest one taking place during the climax of the film, and they all feel really epic. I mean, I kind of was hoping we'd get to see like a Lord of the Rings sized battle with night elves and humans and orcs and undead and all those things you WoW players will know. But hopefully you won't be too disappointed when you don't get that, because this movie mostly operates around orcs and humans. And like I said, I thought I'd be disappointed in that, but I really wasn't, because watching the humans and orcs do battle on such a large scale was really great entertainment. The battle scenes are probably what's going to make this movie enjoyable for you as a viewer, and they do deliver at a really high level. Because you don't really go into a movie like this thinking, man, this plot is going to be so good. The story is serviceable and allows the movie to progress, but the battle scenes are what you're really there for, and they definitely give you what you want. Another thing I also want to mention is that this film definitely has some pretty violent scenes for being rated PG-13. So if you're a parent and you're considering taking your young child to this film, I would suggest thinking long and hard about whether your child can handle it, because there's definitely a lot of violence in this movie, and at times I was like, God damn, that was pretty violent for a PG-13 movie. Some of the stuff that happened felt like violence you'd see in like a Deadpool movie or something. But as a former World of Warcraft player, I really enjoyed this movie. There's a lot of references to the games, and I felt like Blizzard tried to adapt their games to the film in the most honest and true way possible. This movie does a lot of things really well and some things not so well. I thought the CGI looked great as a whole, the battle scenes were very well done, the story was serviceable, and the acting was mostly poor. But I can't say I wasn't entertained, because I never felt bored, and I honestly think the movie would have been better if it was like 30 to 40 minutes longer, because the plot moves at such a fast pace and things just sort of happen at times with little to no explanation. So if you're hearing this, Blizzard, next time give us more. We definitely want more. So overall, I'm gonna give this movie an 8 out of 10 for all the reasons I laid out in this video, and recommend that you go see it in theaters whether you're a fan of the games or not. Like I said, just be cautious taking young children to see it, but otherwise if you're into fantasy action films, you should definitely enjoy this one. So did you guys see Warcraft yet? What did you think of it? Let me know in the comments below. And if not, let me know whether or not you're excited to see this film. That's all for now. This is WillFoxification signing off. See you in the next review.